We want to show you how when you say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, that even though you've been asking for it and it's lined up for you, you can't let it in. So it's zigging and zagging. The opportunities are all over the place, but you can't see them. In the same way that you can't tune your radio to one station and hear what's being broadcast on another, you can't tune yourself to not enough of something and get enough of it. You can't tune yourself to sickness and be well, and you can't tune yourself to confusion and be clear. You can't tune yourself to not enough of what you want and have it. The vibrations have to match up. So what we want to convey in a way that you really get it is that you've been asking and it's been amassing, and that there is, we're not kidding you, a swirling vortex of creation that you have put in place that is there ready to pop in full manifested form for you. It's a swirling vortex of pre-manifestation of all of the things that you want. And the time frame between your launching the creation of it and you're receiving it in a way that you can park it in your garage or see it in your bed or deposit it in your bank account, the time that it takes in order for you to have the full manifestation of it is the only variable, and the variable exists all as your own personal power. In other words, the time variable is only about how long it takes you to vibrationally get inside your own vortex. So over here where your money and all the things you want are, we're talking about money a lot these days because it's what's most upon your minds. As the vortex, which contains everything you want, is spinning over here in this place of non-resistance, and you're over here beating the drum of something that feels uncomfortable to you, that's your indicator that you're nowhere near your vortex. And when you're nowhere near your vortex, then you're banging around out there having more contrast, but not seeing evidence, not hearing plans, not getting impulses, not feeling intuition, not getting guidance, not being in the right place at the right time, not getting the stuff you want. Not a problem, because the more you don't get the stuff you want, the more you ask for it, and the more you ask for it, the more gathers, and the more it swirls and calls you to it. But the more it calls you to it and the more you don't go, the worse you feel. That's the thing that we really want you to hear. The more you ask, the more it swirls. The more it swirls, the more it calls you. The more it calls you and you go, the better you feel. You don't even have to get there to feel good. You just have to go in the direction of it. Do you know? You could be pretty far in terms of attitude. You could be in despair and it's swirling and calling you. You'd feel awful. And the more it swirls, the more awful you feel. But if you could reach for a better feeling thought, you'd feel better. You'd start feeling relief. You start feeling relief the closer you get to who you really are. You start feeling relief the closer you get to who you really are. That bears repeating. You start feeling better. You feel better. You feel relief the closer you get to who you are. So when you're moving toward who you really are and what you want, you feel better. When you're moving away from it, you feel worse. That's what your guidance is telling you. You're getting closer. And when you get to the hopeful place, when you get close enough that you're beginning to feel consistent hope about something, now you allow yourself to be caught into the vortex. In other words, occasionally something happens where you begin to see evidential manifestation of your proximity. And when you get into the vortex, in other words, just believe it a little and you'll get in the vortex. There's not believing, which feels awful. There's hope, which feels better. There's believing, which is in the vortex. And once you get in there, all kinds of things start manifesting. Now, why? Why do you then begin to see the evidence that's been there all along when you get in the vortex? And why can't you see it until you get in? Same reason that you can't hear what's being broadcast on 6:30 a.m. when your dial's set on 97.6. In other words, if your frequencies don't match up, you don't have the auditory, the visual, you can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't know it. You got to get on the wavelength of what you want. And what happens is people are out there vibrationally out of whack, trying to bang it into place with action. There's not enough action in the world to compensate for inappropriate thought. Your hospitals are filled to the brim with people who are attempting action for vibrational discord. And the reason that almost as soon as one thing gets sewn up or cut out or smoothed over, something else pops up, because vibrational discord will continue to show up in a variety of ways. The first way vibrational discord shows up is negative emotion. And depending upon how much you want it and how much you don't believe it, the discord is stronger or milder. If you sort of want something and you sort of don't believe it, there's not much discord. If you really want something and you really don't believe it, there's stronger discord. So as you begin to recognize that your emotions are your indicator of what? Of everything. Your emotions are your indicator of your proximity to what you want. Your emotions are your indicator to your proximity to who you are. In other words, if you're a lover and you're hating someone, you're not in the vicinity. If you're a lover and you're loving someone, you're right in the vortex. So as you let your dominant intention be to look for reasons to feel good, to look for reasons to feel a little better than you are, as you begin making lists of positive aspects, as you get on rampages of appreciation, as you begin to play the games like wouldn't it be nice if, as you begin to orient yourself more in the direction of who you really are, not only do you receive the extraordinary benefit of then being who you are, assured, secure, balanced, vital and alive, thriving, clear-minded, full of zest and passion and eagerness, frisky. Not only do you have the benefit of feeling wonderful, but every single thing you have ever asked for is showing up. Look here, look here, look here, look here, look here. It's a veritable treasure hunt. And the treasures, every one of them, you put there, one by one, by one, by one, by one. Traffic clears up. People are nice. Money flows easily. Ideas flow. Your sense of security envelops you. Your sense of well-being, your eagerness for life. Being tuned in, tapped in, turned on is the way you plan to live. And anything less than that is utterly unacceptable. And we mean that in the fullest sense of the word, because the source within you, and that includes the vibrational attitude from which we are projecting to you in this moment, we simply will not go to you when you have a pity party. We will not go to the place where you are complaining. We will not beat the drum with you about things going wrong. We will not justify with you or defend. We will not look at someone that you call your opponent and point out the things that are wrong with that other. We will not use your differences as your reason to push yourself apart from who you are. It's such an interesting thing to watch your political unfolding, as there seems to be an unwillingness to accept that anyone else could have a productive or a positive thought. It has become so partisan that the attitude says, if you think it, no matter what it is, it's got to be wrong. And then they've got themselves in a terrible situation, because every thought the other guy thinks isn't a bad thought. But when you say it is, because he's on the wrong side of the aisle, your thoughts can't be good, then you put yourself in a place that you can never, ever, 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 ever say any of the same things that he said, even when they are good. What a mess that is. There are so many things that are good, and sometimes people you don't like are saying them. And when you try to sort it all out in terms of right piles and right piles and left piles, right piles and wrong piles, when you try to sort it out in terms of piles instead of emotions, then you get yourselves in traps that you cannot wiggle out of, because you say, I can never, because you thought that thought, I'll never again think that thought. You thought it, so it's off limits to me. And then there's a scramble. I thought it first, I thought it first, I thought it first. No, it's my thought, I thought it first. And we say, The source within you is the accumulator, the collector of the most productive, most uplifting, most beneficial experiences and attitudes of the masses who have been living from the beginning of existence in physical form. This source energy, amassing of pure positive energy, is not political and it's not religious. It does not lean left or right. It is an amassing of source energy, and it is there for all to tap into. And only those who praise will tap into it. Only those who look for reasons to love will tap into it. And so, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would leave everyone out of the equation, because you cannot get them to be what they need to be in order for you to feel good. In other words, you just strike your balance between who you're being at any moment and who you really are. Let your dominant intent be, in every moment that you are consciously aware, to close this vibrational gap.